minutes and 33 seconds. I'm just now figuring out that I'm fucking streaming. Old man. I'm an old man. Seriously. I had no idea. I thought I hit... Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. I've been doing all this shit. Oh, boy. That's funny. God, I'm such a boomer. Well, anyway. Welcome to the stream. I assume it's streaming to the right channel. Let's see. Where am I at? Where are we at? Well, where did I leave off? I can't even remember what my last stream was. It had to have been before I went to the AT. Well, in the event that... God, my memory sucks. I went to the Appalachian Trail with my wife. We went to... we hiked well, not really Davenport Gap. We started at a hostel called Standing Bear Farm Hostel. We stayed the night there, Saturday night. Got up the next morning and then started hiking northbound from the... I mean, it's the northbound terminus of the Smoky Mountains, Great Smoky Mountains. We skipped the Smoky Mountains this time and decided instead to go north and do about 33 miles up there. It was a little bit difficult. My wife's knees are messing with her. And she always has a rough starting out. But we only did like 7 miles the first day. And boy, it was like, it really took a toll on us, to be sure. It's crazy. I mean, it took a toll on me because, like, in the process of losing a bunch of weight, I also lost a lot of muscle. And that happens every time I lose weight. But I lost a lot of muscle, so I had to rebuild a lot of that muscle to climb those mountains. And day 2 was hot. Really hot. We were exposed to the sun a lot. Got burnt. Really hot. And I hit this point where I was like, I had no energy. It was hard to lift my legs. I was really struggling. But I came out of it, which was surprising because I've had that in the past where I'll have that feeling of where I'm bogged down. And I'm just like, I can't seem to get over it. I can't seem to get energy back, but I was able to pull it through. And then the rest of the day was kind of fine. Day 3 went pretty unremarkable, to be honest. I mean, we just pulled a considerable amount of miles that day. I think we did 11 miles that day. But Sarai and I ended up getting into a little tiff at our campsite because we weren't at a regular dispersed campsite. We had to just throw our hammocks up. Well, we were, but we weren't at a shelter. We'd been staying at shelters the nights before. And we went to a dispersed campsite. And I know that worries Soraya, being out there and doing stuff like that, because she's always afraid, you know, of what could come into camp and this and that, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, we kind of got into it a little bit, but we came through it. It was fine. And then the last day, we just blew through the last 7.5 miles. We did that in like 3 hours. Got to Hot Springs, North Carolina. We met up with a lot of the people that we had been hiking with for those past 3 days. And we ended up going to breakfast together, hanging out at a Outfitters and just kind of shooting the shit because we had a shuttle that was coming. They were all taking zeros for that day at Hot Springs, and we had a shuttle coming, but it wasn't slated to come till like 4. So we had a lot of time to kill. So we all just hung out at the Outfitter in town on their little outside deck and just shot the shit and had a good time. It was a really good time. So happy about that. I mean, that was like the best part of the trip. And it's like the last time we went out to the AT before this, we it was very uneventful, you know, for the most part, until the last day when we came across the bear. There was a black bear on trail that was heading toward us, and it was the first time we ever saw a bear on the AT, and we just lost our shit. It was great, but that sort of changed the whole dynamic of that trip, because if it wasn't for that, it would have been just like a humdrum experience. I noticed that that's kind of been happening a lot with those trips. Like one thing will kind of save the whole thing. But all in all, we had an all right time. The thing that sort of killed it, Soraya and I were kind of at each other's throat heading down there, because there's a lot of tension going on in our personal lives. There's a lot of stuff that's just, you know, coming up. Like the whole deal with, you know, our money situation, my job situation, her job situation. A lot of things are in flux. A lot of things are chaotic, and we're just having a rough go, I guess is the best way to put it. We're having a rough go with it. And I'm doing my best to keep it together. One of the things that kind of screwed me up before our vacation is I've been working on this issue at work, okay? Our ads just stopped running. They didn't just stop running. The company that provided us the equipment got in there and fucking changed something, and then all of our spots stopped running. And anything that I sent after that, it wouldn't pull. So I was in full panic mode, because this is like the day before I'm supposed to start a week-long vacation, and no inventory is running. And I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't cancel this vacation. There's just no way. I refuse. So I just let it go, and I went. I'm like, I will deal with it when I get back. Because we both needed that vacation so bad, but it was tempered by that, you know. And the whole trip down, I'm just having a really terrible time worrying about all of that. I was able to let go of it once we got out there, but it all started flooding back when I got back. But this past week has been one of those deals where it's like I'm trying to resolve a problem, and it's got its ups and downs. I think I've got it. I think I figured it out. No, I haven't. Everything's going to shit. You know, nothing's working out. And I had tried everything, exhausted every possibility that I had to try to resolve this issue. And Friday rolls around, and I'm like, the Hail Mary pass, you know, let's try to get this to work. Because at this point, I had been working with the company, and they had been doing some tests, and they've been getting there and trying to look at stuff. But one of the last messages they sent, or notes they put on the trouble ticket, was, this is their issue, according to them. The issue for why our ads were not airing is because they were not encoded properly. I'm like, okay, all right. So I hit him back with two questions. Like, one, if that is the case, then why were we able to air ads for 2 years straight before this incident? Because they're all encoded the exact same way. So what was it about this that changed it? Question number two. If what you're saying is true, and the ads have to be, you know, match the bit rates and the streams and all the audio PIDs and video PIDs, and everything has to match the stream, the incoming stream, why is this one particular ad that I put out there not hitting? Because it does match the streams. Go ahead and pull it. Go ahead and analyze it. Feel free. Take it. Look at it. And tell me how it doesn't match the stream precisely. Then explain to me why it's not airing. I don't hear shit back from them. And then finally, one of the guys emails me. It's like, I need to get into your server. I'm not going to say what it is. We need to get into your server and pull some data for our developers so they can see what's going on. Cool. All right, fine. Because that's kind of what I was looking for. It's like, you can't just write us off like that and say, oh, it's your fault. It's not our fault. Like, no matter how you slice it. We were airing ads before. We have an ad that matches the stream. Nothing's running. This is on you. So that's the way I had to leave it on Friday. And I hate leaving things unresolved like that. And going, finishing out our second week of no ads. I shouldn't say no ads. There were like 4 or 5 ads that somehow magically were running, but couldn't get this shit to work. So all weekend, I'm just like, oh God, I can't take it. This sucks. I'm just down. Soraya and I got to go out and kayak this weekend, which lifted my spirits a bit. I really needed that too. But Sunday I was in free fall. I was as low as I've been in a long time. Probably not, I wouldn't say my lowest, but pretty damn low. Today I go into work fully ready to tell the higher ups, I've done everything I can. We gotta get back with them and try to figure out a solution. We can't let this go on any longer because we're just wasting ad revenue at this point. Like, there has to be a solution, And I failed. I felt like a failure, And then I checked the FTP that feeds their ad server, and lo and behold, it pulled spots. I checked the verifications, and all day yesterday, down the line, play. They all played. I was like, oh, thank God. So to not waste a golden opportunity, I decided today to capitalize on that and continue my testing. I could get into a lot of details. Essentially, IPTV sucks. IPTV has 2 mostly, but sometimes 3 audio streams. 1 AC3 Dolby Digital surround sound 5.1 channel, and then 1 or possibly 2 AAC streams, stereo AAC streams. I don't know why, but the Dolby Digital stream is lower in volume than the AAC stream. The reason why I was doing all this is to address volume issues with our commercials. Some people would watch it and they'd be like, oh my God, your commercial's so loud. It's so loud. You got to turn those commercials down. Somebody else would watch it and be like, oh my God, this commercial's barely audible. You can't even hear any audio. It's like, okay, what the fuck's going on? So I started looking into it. Well, come to find out, we only sent out the AC3 Dolby stream. So depending on how somebody had their box set, and depending on which version of the commercial I sent out, because I didn't realize a lot of what was going on until much, much later. But if I was trying to match the AAC, the higher AAC volume streams, then anyone who had their settings for Dolby Digital were getting blown out of the room because it was significantly louder than the Dolby Digital stream. But if they had it set to stereo, it would be fine. Now, on the flip side, if I had the volume matched to the Dolby side, anyone watching on the stereo side now couldn't hear the volume because of the significant volume differences between those 2 audio channels. This is stuff I've had to learn on my own, by the way. No one told me this. No one informed me of this. No one let me know that was the case. I had to fucking piece this together by reverse engineering this whole goddamn system. And believe you me, that was frustrating beyond all belief. I'm not saying the name of the company. I may have already accidentally said it, but I'm not saying the name of the company because I'm probably going to do nothing but shit talk them for the next hour or so. But ultimately, fuck, it's, I figured out, okay, well, if I set the audio to match the AC3 streams, then everyone who has our IPTV boxes has to have their IPTV boxes set to Dolby Digital. Otherwise, they're not going to hear our audio. which is something we can do, but it's just a hassle. So I thought, well, what if I work out the problem of having the multiple audio streams? So I did. That took me down a whole rabbit hole of having to use multiple encoders and also ultimately get my hands dirty into what's known as FFmpeg, the only thing that I can use that allows me to assign the correct PID, audio and video PID information in order to make this whole goddamn process work. So I do all of that and I get a fucking file that matches exactly. Today, I actually got it to match absolutely exactly, because I was always having this hang up with the AAC streams being encoded, the encoding format being LATM, which is an MPEG-4 encoding scheme for their AAC audio. And I'm like, well, I need it to be ADTS because that's what is used for digital television broadcast streaming and things like that, and for streaming in general. So I was like, that could be causing a hang up as well. Well, I finally figured that out today, so kudos to me. I didn't stick around to figure out if my last test worked or not. I'm going to figure that out tomorrow. But essentially, even if it doesn't work, I'm gonna try to pick an audio volume that's somewhere in between. Because also, when I said like the AAC and the AC3 streams are different volume, all the channels are different volume too. So you can't really just set one across the board. But that's what we're trying to do. Because believe you me, I'm trying to make this all work on a shoestring budget, which is what I'm fantastic at apparently. But I'm in a much better mood now because I'm able to finally get the spots back running again, and basically achieve what I set out to do, fixing the volume issues. Boom. So great. Does that save my job? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? Ultimately, I'm a little upset in the regard that I found out finally how much our technicians and our installers or whatever get paid, because I had to place an ad on our website because we're hiring for one. And yeah, they make on the high end, they make almost as much as me. I've been at the company for 21 years. I do way more than these technicians and installers. I have more responsibilities under my belt, and I'm not getting paid nearly enough. That's what it ultimately comes down to. And I'm being run through the ringer as far as like wondering if I'm even going to have a job. It ain't worth it. I can barely afford this house anymore. The state of Illinois has decided to just fuck everybody in the asshole. And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it hard. We're probably going to have to sell the house. I just don't know how we can afford it anymore. Between the power bills and the increase in property taxes and just the general increase in everything. Just not working out. And it gets worse when I consider the fact that staying at my job doesn't help the matter either. I mean, I guess I could just say that this house was too much. I bit off more than I could chew. And now and that's also part of the failure aspect, where I just feel like I've tried so hard to make this work and keep everything going. And in the end, I failed. You know, we're going to have to get rid of it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see on that front. But ultimately, I am just, I'm still riding the emotional high of, I fucking told them. You have to understand the complete lunacy I've been dealing with for these past several weeks. A company that flat out has told me that they're not at fault for something they did. It's something I recognize that they did. I had them correct, And now the situation's correct, even though they told me when they fixed it. They're like, well, this doesn't really have anything to do with the problem that we're having, so we'll go ahead and do this thing that you're requesting. They didn't even fucking know. You have to understand, I am trying to do what I can for the company I work for, but I also feel like I have to fucking troubleshoot for other companies. And I've been down this road before. I've been down this road with our playout system on our local channel. I rode those cocksuckers for a fucking year, because they sold us a product that did not work. It just flat out didn't work. And I'm like, excuse me, are you going to do something about this? Because you literally told us that this was going to work, and it hasn't worked since day one. Well, blah, 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 blah. And it's just an American reseller for some foreign-made, system. So they're like, well, we're doing what we can, blah, 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 and it's worked in other markets. Like, I don't give a fuck about other markets. I care about what you said this thing would do and what it's not doing. So you would need to resolve these issues. It got to a point where I got so fed up that I started looking for other companies. I contacted one of them, and the guy I talked to at this other company used to sell the product that I was trying to get away from. So he was pretty knowledgeable about it. And he's like, well, I can tell you right now, like, you need to go to the standalone version of that software. That will work. That's always worked. They're trying to push this new web client thing and where you can do all of this over HTTP protocols, but they've never gotten it to work. But the standalone version will work. And the reason why the HTTP version, the web portal version, was so attractive is because we had to set this up in our head and I have to remote in order to update schedules and control the thing. So instead of having to pay an additional fee for, remote access and things like that, I opted to go with that, but it never worked. So when he told me just have them reinstall the standalone version and it should start working for you. And it did. And I noticed after we did that, I'm like, cool. But I wouldn't let him go, because I was like, all right, we got the system running, but you owe us. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, you sold us a product that doesn't work. Well, it works. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And even if it does work in some other very minute, minuscule ways, it's like, that's not the product we currently have. We have your standalone version, and that's what we have to run with. So just charge us for the standalone version and fucking refund us for, oh, well, we can't do that. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're going to have to pass this on to our legal department, because you flat out sold us something that doesn't work and that we don't even have anymore. And you have our money, but we don't have the product. So enjoy. Before long, we had everything resolved. We got our money back, kept the standalone version, still using it to this day. And it's actually gotten better. They've actually made updates and improvements, and they passed that down. With every update I've done of the software, it's done more and gotten better. So, but I feel like I played an integral part in troubleshooting that program for that company and making it better than what it was when we got it. And here I am doing it again for this company, and it's like, man, I should be charging for this shit. I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and profess like I'm some sort of goddamn engineer. I have no idea what I'm doing. When I started this, I literally had to start with nothing. No information whatsoever. No documentation, no white papers, no manuals, no anything. And I had to and they wouldn't even give this shit to me when I requested it. It was bizarre. I've never had a company not give you a manual or instructions or documentation on their fucking product. They just didn't want to work with me. So I end up having to contact this whole other dude who works for a whole other company, who they put us into contact with to do different things. And he was like, oh, well, let me help you out with this. And he explained so many things and showed me how I could get into the server and pull analytics and all this stuff. I was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea. I've been chasing my tail for so long now. And now I can finally get information that I can work with. And from that, I based all of this off of. And I was right 100%. 100% of the way, right along the board. And let's just say I'll be happy as a clam when this is finally done. I'll be happier than shit when all this is done, because then I never have to fucking deal with this company again. Well, hopefully. And I don't have to hear anything about audio issues ever again. Oh my God. You have no idea. I mean, years upon years, because it wasn't just this system. It's been an ongoing thing, and you could make the argument, well, maybe you should have learned all of this a long time ago, but it was never with... I shoot and edit commercials. You know, that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to be doing, not tech work. But the longer I stay here, the more tech work I end up doing. It just sucks, but it is what it is, I suppose. My wife became a supervisor at her job. She's making pretty good money now, and she also learned, she's friends with another supervisor there, and that supervisor has been there for a year. He just made his his anniversary date, and apparently they gave him a significant raise. So it was enough he started looking for other jobs, and it was enough to get him to stay, because he's like, wow, this is actually pretty good. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, just stick it out for a year and we'll see what that raise is. I mean, she could go up to close to what I'm making and start really reeling the fucking money in, you know? I mean, it's all based on money. It's all money, you know? I mean, she had a few other offers come in and a few different jobs that were presented, but she doesn't know what to do, you know? And I'm doing the best I can to try to work with her on that. But in the end, it's like she can only do what she's comfortable doing. And I think if she sticks it out as a supervisor at this place for long enough, it'll start to feel like hand in glove, you know. It'll fit for her, and then it'll be hard for her to walk away. But one of the things we discussed coming back from North Carolina was the idea of moving out there. You know, getting a place to live, buying up a house or some property out in like Eastern Tennessee or somewhere in Virginia, and just living out there, working out there, you know, basically relocating out there. And it's funny when we get to talking about this stuff, because it's like, it just sounds so appealing and so attractive, you know, like a change of scenery, a change of life, you know, doing other things. Why? I mean, when I was younger, man, that was the stuff that used to excite me. I've always wanted to get out of Illinois. I don't know why I never did, but it's one of those things that it's like, it excited me. Again, I felt the rush and the vigor of like, oh man, just imagine. But reality starts to set in, and you start to understand like it's so much harder. It's so much harder than you realize to just break like that and start anew, especially when you're almost 50. So I don't know. I'm trying to do things as easily as I can. I'm trying to do things in such a way to where it doesn't involve a whole lot of effort, so to speak. I'm being typical lazy John, but I'm trying to make the right decision. I don't want to jump into some fantasy thing where I feel like, oh, it's just going to be the change. The change is all that matters, you know, relocate to another place and life's going to be better. Because that's childish thoughts, you know, that's juvenile. It's not reality. I'm too old to dwell in the realm of fantasy. Also, I don't want to throw away a great job. I mean, how can I say it's a great job with all the shit that they put me through this past year and all this? I mean, you have to understand it's a gravy boat job. I mean, it's like, it so perfectly fits who I am, you know. It's hard. It's undeniable. I would never find another job like this. And although it doesn't pay nearly as much as, you know, what I should be making, I don't care. It's just so comfortable and it fits like a glove and I love it. I would love to not have to worry about it, you know, but I do. I posted a commercial that I made on my Facebook page earlier today and everybody's like, "Oh, great." And then one guy who I've talked to quite a bit in the past, it's like, "Hey man, I want you to make a commercial for my organization." Okay. All the way up until when I told him how much I charge. Then it's like, "All right, well, I'll see about it." Like, yeah, okay. I'll never hear from you again. Everyone, this is the dilemma with doing this. It's that everyone expects you to just do it for free. It's like, I've never understood that whole concept. I've never gotten the whole idea of like, yeah, can you do this? Yeah, how much is it? How much will it cost? Oh, it's this. Oh, well, that's a little high. How do you figure it's high? Like, do you know what the going rate for what you're asking is? Well, I just wasn't expecting it to be that much. Yeah, because you were expecting it to be fucking free. I mean, that's what the way everyone is. They think it's just like, oh, well, the one thing I love to hear is, oh, well, you know, just do it this one time and I'll help promote your, you know, what you do, you know, it'll be promotion for you. That's the oldest fucking trick in the book for people to try to get free shit off you. And the people who suggest that to you think you're a fucking idiot. They really do. They have no fucking concern about what it is you do. They don't view what you do as actual work, and they're trying to get it for free and lie to you about like, because ultimately, unless your client's name is like McDonald's or Doritos or H&R Block or, you know, a major advertising entity, something where it's going to be seen by lots and lots of people, then spec ads may actually be to your benefit, because now you're getting exposure on a national level and people may be interested in hiring your firm, you know, your advertising firm, if, you know, you've done good work and enough people are seeing it. But you just go to Joe Schmo around, you know, down the block or in the same town you're in, and you're like, yeah, but, you know, my organization, we blah, 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 like, and a lot of people will see your work. Like, no one's going to see my work. Not enough. I mean, I've been doing this for so long now, and I have a plethora of work behind me. I've got thousands of ads that I've done. No one's seen them. No one's fucking seen these ads. And that's what I mean. Like, I got paid to do all of them. I've been making a living doing them, and hardly anyone's seen them. And even the people who have seen them don't even remember them. Not enough to rehire half the time. So it's like, if you're not getting your ends met when you do it, then why are you even doing it? And there's always money to be made. There's always ways to do it. It's just you have to not devalue yourself. That's trick number one. Don't give your fucking shit away for free. There's nothing worse than that. Going broke is better than giving it away for free. Because at least you're standing on your principles, you know. You're not going to be pushed around. I was thinking today when I was taking my dogs out that I was just kind of remembering, like, I think it has a lot to do with why I called this stream Life is Roller Coaster Ride. It's my life has been for the past year. It's like the ups and downs are just insane. I kind of want to get off it now, but ultimately, I was thinking about this today about how the older you get, the less hope you have for the future. You know, the future, there's less years ahead of you than there are behind you. And while in your youth, you have all this exuberance to hope for better things and more opportunities and this and that, and live in a dream state almost. The older you get, the less you can do that. You have way too much experience behind you. You have way too much wisdom under your belt. And you just can't, you can no longer fool yourself into believing that these dreams that you have and these aspirations are going to have a success, enough of a successful rate or whatever, however you want to, not rate. How do I put it? The chances of their actual success are slim. And you don't want to roll the dice anymore. You don't want to take those chances, because that's another thing you have with youth is you're much more willing to take risks for greater reward. Whereas as you've gotten older and you've taken those risks and haven't materialized, you're less likely to do it. But one of the other things I realized is that life isn't just all about looking forward. It's also about looking backward. And my stream just went to shit. The fuck happened there? There we go. It's not even 2 hours and 4 seconds or 4 minutes. My stream went to shit. Life, as you get older, you start to realize that your memories of your past are precious things, you know, and they mean so much. They mean more than the experiences themselves actually did. You know, your fond memories of times, they always linger in your brain as this thing that you can always recall and go back to and just really be like, you know, find happiness. Whether or not it's an accurate remembering of the events, that's debatable. Most of the time it's not. But it's one of those sources of just genuine happiness that you can find, where you can think back to experiences you had with family and friends, and, you know, times you did this or went here, had these experiences, blah, 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 you know. And the older you get and the less you remember, you know, directly about it, the shinier and more brilliant and pristine those memories become. And the more you sort of shrug off all the negative and the bad, mundane, boring, whatever, and you just start to focus more and more on all of those happy memories, you know. And I think that it plays so heavily into the tapestry of life, that it's amazing that, I mean, it's not, I guess it's not amazing. It's amazing to me because I don't pay enough attention to a lot of things to really consider this. I'm probably a late bloomer when it comes to like realization. Oh yeah, memories play a huge factor in life. I was just thinking about that in the regards of like prior experiences with friends. I think about this a lot because anymore, I hardly see my friends anymore. And that's just kind of the way it is. It has nothing to do with like the fact that we don't like each other, which isn't the case. It's just, you know, we all have our own shit going on. So it's hard to pull those levers and get everything organized and coordinated to the point where we can actually set up a time to get together. Life just seems to be much more complicated now for some reason. Whereas back in the day, we just get together and party and hang out and whatever. And that's another thing I was also talking about, how I used to party all the time when I was young, party constantly. But the older I got, the more it's like, you know, I had my fun. I had my parties. I partied with my friends. I partied with strangers. We did a lot of partying. But those parties aren't the same today. And if I tried to party as hard as I did back then, it's never going to be the same. It's like, that's the one thing about memories that you have to realize is they're only good as memories. You know, you have to let those experiences go. You can't keep trying to recreate all of that and live in those moments for the rest of your life, because they're never going to be the same. Every experience has to be a new and unique experience, you know, and partying just got to a point where it's like, it's less, I'm just having fun with my friends and we're just kind of abandoning control and letting the chips fall where they may and just living life to the fullest. And it's become more of a depressing, it's just depressing. So I never really had a problem with letting it go. But when you strip that element of your life away, and that's what most of your friendships came from, you realize a lot of your friendships go right along with it. Now, I still have great memories. I mean, there's times where my friends and I, we'd get together and we'd share, bond, whatever you want to call it, and we'd share all these experiences, and we had very personal and intimate relationships and connections that we thought would be unbroken through the span of time. But that's the funny thing about time, because I couldn't even get in a room with these people now if I tried. And if I did, I'd feel uncomfortable, and it'd feel awkward and uncomfortable, because we're so different in our personal lives that it's like when you strip away that element of what brought us together in the first place, and all the times that we did have fun, there wasn't really much left. But I can still look back on those memories that I had with those people and those times I shared with them and reflect fondly on it and be like, that was a great time. And I remember having a really great conversation with that guy once, and we just sat in a bar and just fucking shot the shit for like hours, and it was great, and it was such a great night. But I couldn't do that again. There's no fucking way I could do that again. Well, I mean, A, because I don't drink anymore, and B, because it's like, that person could be a completely different person by now. We had our moment at that one time in life, that one little unique and specular moment, and we experienced it. And maybe he took something different from it than I did. Maybe to him it was just another boring ass night. To me, it was like, oh, this is so great, getting to talk to somebody like this and having a conversation like this, and it feels good. People remember things differently, but I have a lot of those experiences, and I think those experiences alone, you figure would make up enough to keep relationships together and keep people together and make it to where we would never let time destroy what we had built. But it's just not the way life works. And as much as I can reflect back on those happy moments, and I have longtime friends where we shared lots of those moments, but we get together. It's not us, it's not really about us recounting the old moments, and talking about the past. It's more us trying to create new moments, which is fine, which is great. There's just less of them because fuck, we're old men. We don't leave the house. We don't do anything anymore. So it's like, I keep trying to get my friends out to do stuff with me. Outdoor stuff, like, hey man, what are you doing this weekend? How about you want to come out and hike? Oh, I don't want to fucking hike. All right, fine. Well, kayaking. Let's go kayaking. Oh, I don't want to go out in the water. Like, fuck. It's like, are you serious? Like, well, that was the only two things I do. But, that's kind of one of those things where it's like, you move apart as people, you start to have different interests, and those interests don't always align. And as much as I would like to believe that enough people will, like I would meet enough people over time where I would be able to experience, the new experiences that I want to have. I'll meet people who share in those things and want to do them. We just never we only meet these people when we go out on the AT and go out on trails, and they're just like short-term little, just like I was saying about our time in Hot Springs, North Carolina, with those people that we've been hiking for the past, 3 or 4 days with. That was an experience that we got to share together, and we got to know each other a little bit. I mean, not, we don't know everything. We didn't know everything about each other, obviously. I mean, most of them, you don't even know their goddamn name. But you're having these experiences and sharing these experiences together. You get to talk about it with one another, and it just allows you to connect with complete strangers, and have your little moment, and then you move on. I mean, it was bound to happen anyway, because we don't through hike. But even if we did through hike, my wife and I don't hike very fast, so they would have passed us up eventually anyway. Then it would have been on to back to where we were. And that's one of those things where at the end of the day, we're all like, oh man, it's going to be so sad to see everybody go and kind of, whatever. It's like, we wish you were staying on the trail and we're going to go back out with us. Like, yeah, but that feeling will pass. It will. I mean, I think it would be worse if we were on trail and still trying to make our way up, and knowing that those people that we had those experiences with and shared those times with are now, days ahead of us, and we'll probably never see them again, but we're still on the same trail. It's a different experience when you just leave the trail and they're still out there, because it was a fleeting moment, but one that couldn't be rekindled because we're not traveling the same path. But when you're through hiking, you are traveling the same path. So it sort of sucks when you can't stick with somebody, but you can't ask anyone to alter their trip and change their trajectory and hike at a different speed or do whatever, because that's just encroaching on their good time and what they're out there for. There's a saying in the hiking community. It's called it says hike your own hike. And that's kind of the law of the jungle, so to speak. That's what everyone adheres to. Like, don't criticize people for their speed and what they can do and what they can't do. Everyone can hike their own hike. It's everyone finding their own personal enjoyment. But the other aspect of hike your own hike is, don't put yourself in a situation where you have to now either hike way faster than you're accustomed to or comfortable with to keep up with other people, or you're going to have to hike way slower so they can keep up with you. It's not worth the frustration of trying to keep together into a community like that, because, and I know this from personal experience hiking with Soraya, because she hikes so fucking slow that it does get under my skin sometimes, but I do my best to hide it. But ultimately it's like, I can go so much faster than her, and I really feel like I can knock miles out. But I also look at it from a perspective of, it's not always better to just like a machine push through and get miles upon miles upon miles done every day. Like, cause you're not taking the nature, the whole point of doing it. You're not taking advantage of that. You're kind of missing the point if all you're doing is like, oh, I put in 15 miles today. Great. What did you see? Did you take a break? Did you stop? Did you enjoy anything? Or were you just fucking pushing on? And that's the way I felt. That's the way I felt on the River to River Trail, where I'm just doing 20 miles a day. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not even stopping to enjoy shit. It's like I'm on a mission to get off this fucking trail. There's no fun to be had there. So I'm missing the entire point of doing it. And I understand a through hike on the AT is not like a traditional hike. You have 2,200 miles to go through, and you have to get through that shit within a certain amount of time. So you don't have a lot of time to dilly-dally. You got to push through. So there is an element, it's sort of like a balancing act between got to get miles done and also have to try to enjoy yourself and try to do whatever. But there's so many people out there who take zeros, and Soraya and I were talking about that. I was like, I don't think I could possibly take a zero, to be honest. Like a zero is what they call taking an entire day off. Like, you get off trail and then you have a whole day after that where you're off trail, and then you start the trail the following day. That to me is way too much time off from hiking. Like, there's another thing called Neros, which is like near zero, where you get off trail and then you spend that day doing your laundry, taking a shower, whatever, at a hostel, or, resupplying. And then the very next day you're back out on the trail. That sounds to me like a much better way of managing time off. Because I feel like if I spent too much time off trail, like in a hotel or a hostel or whatever, it'd be very, very hard for me to get back on trail, because I get acclimated to the process of hiking and being out in the woods, being out in the elements for hours upon hours every day. And once I'm in that mode, I don't want to get out of it, but sometimes you got to. Also, anyone who is typing in if anyone types in chat and I'm not responding to it, it's because I don't see it. It's not because I'm being an asshole and just avoiding you. It's literally, I don't see anything in chat. I don't know if you heard that or not. I'm going to try to reload the chat. See what that does. It says sign in to chat. Usually the shit will pop up if somebody chats, but if no one's chatting, then no one's chatting. Just saying. If you chatted, I haven't seen it. I will continue to babble, at least for a little while longer. So yeah, I'm in high spirits today, just basically because I was right. There's nothing more vindicating than being right. And the funny thing to me is, like, I don't know how you can toss a motherfucker out of a job when they just proved like their worth to your company. I mean, but that, you know, fucking crazier shit's happened, you know, and I just have to take it as it comes. Like, I can't explain how other people react or what they do. You know, people make bad decisions all the time, and I could be subject to one of those bad decisions. I'm most definitely being subjected to one of those bad decisions, but it's not like I can rant and rave about it and change anyone's mind. They have to come to this understanding and decision on their own. I can only show them the value of what I can do. They have to make that determination. But I've got all sorts of plans to move on. I keep talking about the hiking aspect in conjunction with this because that's one of the plans that I have, is just literally becoming a hobo and fucking hiking the rest of my life, strapping everything I own to my back and just spending as much time on the trail as possible. Most people would be like, you're a fucking crazy person. But if you've never really gotten out there and done it, then I don't think you understand the draw of it. You know, especially when you hike the AT, because the AT is its own kind of beast. For one thing, it's far, far more populated. There's so many people out there, you know, doing their hikes, and there's just random, you know, like section hikers and people just randomly coming to the trail to do little things. You'll meet so many of those people out there, and it's just an experience where you are almost always surrounded by people. I mean, I've hiked other trails where you're alone the entire fucking way, and that kind of blows. But ultimately, the AT is one of those experiences where you can kind of stay it's a social network in and of itself. So it's not vindicated, but it's inspiring in that regard, that you don't have to leave behind interactions with people, and you don't have to immerse yourself into isolation, you know, in loneliness, like you would in like maybe the PCT or something like that. And there's so many events. I mean, it's just an experience in and of itself, and it's sort of addicting. I mean, every time we go out there, it's like we just want to stay. We don't want to come home. And it's getting more and more like that. And I always think, like, well, why couldn't a person just do the trail, get off trail, go to the next trail, and keep going? I mean, why not? Why not just continue hiking? I mean, there's some people who try to do it. There's a lot of people who, you know, they have like certain jobs where they can just take on some work here and there. And then once they've got enough money built up, they just hop right back on the trail and keep going. That is their life. The thing that scares me, this goes back to one of the things I was saying at the beginning of the stream. It's like, I'm too old to buy into the fantasy of what I'm trying to sell myself. And that fantasy is living the rest of my life in the outdoors. You know, like, yeah, when you're 20, 30, early 40s, that's one of those things that you can say, sure, bring it on. But once you start getting into 50s, 60s, 70s, it's far less likely that you're going to be comfortable going out every single day on a trail and enduring the elements and doing all of that, the strenuousness. I mean, sure, you could be like a fucking physical machine, but eventually time catches up with you. And then you come to this realization somewhere in the darkness of night in your tent or your whatever, and you start to realize I am a 70-year-old man out hiking with no prospects for anything. I have nothing to look forward to. I have no bankroll to fall back on. I have no security. I have nothing at all but this trail, this moment in time. And that's all I've ever done. That's all I've ever known, and that's all I've ever wanted it to be. And there are people who spend their entire lives chasing that dream. And a lot of them are hikers. You find a lot of ex-drug addicts on the trail too. People who are recovering drug addicts, recovering substance abuse. And it becomes the new addiction, I guess is a way to put it. Because it's the addiction itself is not an addiction to a specific thing. It's the addiction to handing control over, like to not take responsibility for your life, to let go of the controls and just let Jesus take the wheel, so to speak. That's the addiction. That's what people want. It's the escapism. And unfortunately, when you go out and do stuff like this, it's a welcoming experience. People will be more than willing to let you come in and yes, this is great, blah, blah, blah. Spend the rest of your natural life hiking. Great. Sounds like a fucking plan until you're 70. And then you have no money. You have no health insurance. You have no retirement. You have your Social Security is going to be nil, if not just pure shit, because you haven't been paying in anything, depending on how long you were on trail. And it's like you're now beyond the scope of anything. I mean, what do you even do? That's one of those fears that I have. It's like I have, and that's how it comes back, and I reflect on that in my current state and my situation, where I'm like, I thought I was working toward having all of that worked out, you know, having all of those questions answered, all those questions I never really concerned myself with back in my 20s. They're all worked out for me now. All I got to do is stay the course and everything's worked out. I don't have to rock the boat. I don't have to change anything. I don't have to do a fucking thing. I just stay the course. Stay the course. Easy peasy. Especially since I've been doing it for 21 years now. Should be easy to stay the course. Unless they kick me off the fucking boat. Then it's like, you know, now I'm in a fucking life preserver floating out in the sea, you know, wondering where it all went. Where's my security now? You know, what's my future hold now? I should take that back. It's not a life preserver or anything. They kick me off the boat, but they give me a little dinghy. You know, my investment into my retirement that I now have to cash out prematurely affords me a dinghy to be able to paddle my ass back to some shore. But that's it. And that's all you get, you know, if you're not fully committed and fully invested into the retirement system. But if I can make it to retirement, then I'll be older, but if I can keep myself in good physical shape and I can continue to do trails here and there and just make sure that I'm physically fit enough to, when that time comes, I can go do it. Boom, as soon as I'm free, on the trail I go. But I'm not alone in this. I'm not alone in this at all. And I have to worry that my wife is going to be physically able to do it too. Because if she's not, I'm not. I mean, that's the kind of the way a marriage works. I mean, it's not necessarily. I mean, a lot of guys and girls go out without their significant others and do it. But I know it would just break her fucking heart. Because at the end of the day, the AT was Soraya's dream. I can't live her dream and her not be absolutely devastated. So I wouldn't do that to her. I wouldn't do that to her at all. I mean, you could say, well, she could live vicariously through you. You know, she could see your experiences and realize, well, she can't do it, but she can see you doing it. And I mean, come on. She wants to be out there. She wants to do it. We'll figure out a way. We will find a way. God damn it. But again, it'd be so much easier to do it now in our late 40s than it would be in our mid 60s or early 60s. I'm still trying to figure out which would be the best scenario for me to stick to. I mean, if I can make it to 59, I can retire early. Significantly less money, but still I can retire early. Now, can I retire early? Can I stick it out if I've made it that far, just a few more years and get even more money out? Sure. But that pushes back all of my plans, and I don't know if it's worth it. That's the one question I also keep coming back to. What is a life worth when you get to this late stage in life? Listen to me, like I'm fucking 60 already. But you start to get later in life and you realize, what is your time worth? You know, I was talking to Soraya about this a couple of days ago about the house that we have. It's like, I've been swimming upstream like a fucking deranged salmon, trying to make this house work, even though I know that it's only getting harder. The bills are getting more expensive and our pay is not increasing. So it's like, it's almost like I'm getting evicted from my own house by society as a whole. You know, I was never meant to afford a house like this, and they're showing it to me every passing year. I'm being reminded of just how I cannot afford this house. So why do I stick? Because I would feel like a failure selling this house. I just feel like a failure. And I don't want to feel like a failure. I want to feel like we accomplished this. You know, we kept this and we fought for it and it's ours, and no one could take it away from us. But in order to do so, we have to go for broke, literally. You know, and how many years of my life am I going to spend, you know, barely having any money just to pay down certain debt to make our situation just slightly better, so we can snowball more of our payments into paying off other bills, and just so we can make our situation slightly better before the bills just start to get outrageously high again. Inflation kicks up, whatever bullshit comes down the pipe. I mean, COVID was the biggest indicator. Like, you can't fuck around, you know, like with trying to eke by in a financial situation where you're like, okay, what do they call it? House poor? Yeah. A situation like that. Like, you're playing a dangerous game at that point, which is something I found out. I mean, have I lost the house? No. Are we going to lose the house? I mean, it's not like I'm behind on our mortgage payment or anything like that. I'm tired of not having any money, you know, spending money. We're paying our bills. We just don't have any spending money. It makes going out on vacations infinitely more difficult. It makes going out to eat difficult. It makes everything more difficult when you don't have money in the budget to be able to dedicate to things like that. You have to count I've become such a fucking miser over the past couple of years. It's never been like me. Never been me. But it is now, because I'm the one managing the finances, and I have to make sure that we're going to constantly have the money to pay the bills. My job, I haven't seen a paycheck since, Jesus, for as long as I can remember, and probably never will. All my paychecks have gone to paying the bills. Just, that's the way life is. I always fantasize about one of these days I'm just going to take one paycheck. I'm just going to blow it. Can never do that. Too old now. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. You know what sucks? I usually like to interact with my viewers, and I rely on chat a lot, and I don't know why chat's not working. I feel like I'm just spinning in circles. I'm talking so much. I guarantee you I've changed topics at least 15 to 20 times. Probably. My ADD is just off the chart. So I can't talk anymore. I don't know what else to say. I hate it. I hate not having chat. So I think I'm going to wrap it up, because I don't know why chat's not working. But whatever. Anyway, I'll jump back on here later this week. Maybe chat will work. Who knows? So, bye.